Hey everybody, very excited to be back in the third generation 2022 Toyota Tundra. Now, this particular Tundra is a limited with the CrewMax cabin and the 5.5 foot bed or the short bed. And this particular truck also has the TRD Off-Road Package. Now, that package does include some visual cues to the truck, but it isn't just that. It is not an appearance package. You get a different tuned suspension. You get Bilstein monotube shock absorbers. You get all-terrain tires, and you get a locking differential in back. I'll go ahead and put the full list of stuff you get on the screen right now so you can see, so you know exactly what comes in the package. I mean, it is $3,085, so it's definitely worth knowing. Now, the Limited is one of 7 trims of Toyota Tundra now. You've got the SR, the SR5, this Limited, Platinum, 1794, TRD Pro, and this brand new trim that came out not that long ago called Capstone. So considering that list, this is actually on the lower end of Toyota Tundra that you can get. But this specific Tundra with this cabin and bed and options packages is very, very well equipped, which makes it not that cheap. The base price for a brand new Toyota Tundra, which is the SR, is $37,645. The base price for a CrewMax 4-wheel drive Tundra Limited is $53,595. Now, it's in the high 40s if you get the double cab and the 2-wheel drive version. My test truck with all the options on it was $60,188. And if you're curious, I have a full list of what the options are in the description of the video. With the basics covered, this would be a good time to pull over and show you around and inside the truck. All right, everybody, let's take a closer look at this 2022 Toyota Tundra. Now, this one is a 4x4 Limited CrewMax with a short bed. This particular one is also painted in Supersonic Red, which is a $425 optional color. This truck also has the TRD Off-Road Package, and there are a few visual cues to let you know. The 20-inch wheels are painted in black and are wrapped in all-terrain tires. These particular tires are Falcon Wild Peak all-terrain tires. Behind those tires are Bilstein monotube shock absorbers. Special black grille with the TRD logo right there. Skid plate. TRD off-road sticker. Aluminum pedals. TRD engine start button. And TRD shift knob. Looking at the front, you definitely have like a pretty standard and big full-size pickup truck look, and I think the TRD Off-Road Package grille does add to the looks of the truck. I do also like these LED headlights, and these are actually part of the Limited Premium package, and that also includes the tow technology package, and it's $395. Looking at the truck in profile, you can see that it is mighty large, mighty long, and that the cabin takes up the majority of the space. This does have the larger CrewMax cabin and does have the shorter 5.5 foot bed, as I stated. And this particular truck also has the $625 rock rails on the side. Looking at the truck from the back, again, pretty standard looking pickup truck look. You can see that there are a couple of features. Obviously, this has a tow hitch, and here are the 4-pin and 7-pin options for your trailer. One thing you might not have noticed in back is the exhaust, because it wasn't there. It's right here on the back of the side, and it is all real. That's just one of the ways to open the tailgate, and as you noticed, it has this soft opening. It has a gas strut built inside it, so it just kind of comes down softly instead of crashes down abruptly. But there's also this button right here, and of course you can actually use the tailgate. Before we get in, you can see we have this nice thick bed mat right here that is a $295 option, and it says Tundra. You might also notice that it's not metal. That's plastic or composite if you prefer. And so this is a composite bed with aluminum cross structures underneath it. So it's not pure plastic. And since we're talking about the truck bed in general, I'll let you know that this trimmed truck can haul 1,740 pounds, except that because of the exact features and options on it, it has a little yellow sticker. Let me show you that real quick. This guy right here, which says that this truck is actually heavier than a standard limited edition Crew Max short bed truck. So we can actually haul 179 fewer pounds, or 1,561 pounds. Specific weight aside, there are some nice features here. We do have this step right here. This bed step, as Toyota calls it, is $399. And once we're up here, you can see that we have a lot of slots built into it here, here, and here on both sides to put in 2x6s or whatever to partition up the bed. You also have another one here on both sides of the wheel well to add a second level. We also have some tie downs down low on either side here, as well as the adjustable tie downs up here as well, and then some more tie downs in back, of course. This particular truck is equipped with the limited power package, which gives you AC power in both the cabin and the bed. It is $385. This truck also has LED bed lighting there, and up here. This doesn't really give you a good sense of the brightness of it, so I'm going to quickly pull into my garage and show you what it looks like. Okay, right here is the switch for the tailgate lights. I have them off entirely right now so you can see what it looks like. I'm going to go ahead and turn them on. Big difference. All right, let's take a look inside the truck. Because this is the Crew Max cabin, you have plenty of space for people and or things, and there's even room behind and underneath the seats. I already detached this buckle here for the third seat right there. There's a strap right here, and there is storage behind the second row. Now this particular truck has less storage than normal because it has the $565 12 speaker JBL system, which includes this subwoofer right here. And you can see on the other side that that is where the jack is if you need to change a tire. But there is plenty of storage underneath the seat. Just lift up like this and you can see all the space down here. And of course that's true on the other side as well. And the other side even has a first aid kit right there. Now, once the seats are up, they will stay up in place. They have a little locking mechanism, and that's what this strap is for down here. Pull that and it releases. And the big door itself also has space for bottle holders and other storage and stuff down in that pocket below. I am 5'11" or 181 centimeters tall, and you can see that I've got acres of knee room right here. I also have a pretty high seat bottom, so I have decent thigh support as well, and that means less than a 90-degree bend in my knees. And as you can see, I can move that around. I mean, I can fold my legs if I want to and still have plenty of space. Same for headroom. I have a good 2-3 inches of headroom. I also have some extra storage under here, cup holders right here, and some USB ports. One standard, one Type-C, and there's that other AC power for the cabin that we talked about earlier. In addition to that, I do, yes, have cup holders and an armrest right here, as long as you don't have to carry a passenger in the middle. Again, plenty of space, and again, lots of storage down low in the door itself, bottle holder, etc., etc. You do have 2-position seat memory and power windows, power locks, all that. You can adjust the side view mirrors to stay open, stay closed, or automatically open and close. Yes, you do have power adjusting driver and passenger front seats, and a whole slew of buttons to do a whole slew of things right here. We do have tilt and telescope steering. It is right here. It is manually adjusted. The seats themselves are okay. You know, they have decent support. They're fairly wide and broad, so you're sitting on the seat more than you're sitting in it. But for what this truck needs to do, its purpose, I think the seats are plenty comfortable. Push button start. Those are real gauges right there, dominated of course by the tachometer and speedometer, and then you have a small information screen in between those two. And then over here you get this big old 14-inch center console touchscreen. There is a whole lot about the screen to talk about. In fact, I want to show you something. This is the owner's manual, but this is not the owner's manual for the entire truck. This is the owner's manual just for the center console touchscreen. It is just under 250 pages long. My point is, there is a lot to talk about here. But instead of trying to explain it myself, I actually did a video previously when I first drove this truck last fall, and I spoke with an expert all about this center console touchscreen. So I have a video link in the corner right there. You can check it out, and it goes into more detail about some of the features of this screen. Just below that, you do have dual zone climate control, another USB port right here. You do have heated and cooled seats, and those are standard on the Limited for both the driver and passenger front. Now, if you get the Platinum or 1794 versions of this truck, the front and rear seats are heated and cooled. That's a neat feature. This truck also does have the heated steering wheel, but that is a $150 optional extra. Beneath that, pretty standard looking Prindle, and a few buttons here. There's a couple things I want to go over there. You do have an electric parking brake down here, and this truck does have Qi wireless charging for your smartphone right there. Beneath that, more storage space, more cup holders, and you've got these compartments of storage right here. This one actually slides open and gives you access to the lower center console right here, or there's buttons on either side. You can open the whole thing that way, and you'll see that you have more charge ports right here, slots for coins, and just, you know, general storage and those types of things. All right, I mentioned these buttons right here, you know, this traction control off, diff lock, trailer functions, that kind of thing. But I want to talk about this one right here. That's camera view. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put the truck in drive, and then I'm going to press this view button. And you can see that I've got an overhead view and a broad view of what's going on in the front of the truck. But I wanted to show you that you have many different options for camera views. And if I move the truck into reverse, I can choose what kind of grid lines I want. And finally, if you are backing into a trailer, you can have that grid on or off as well. There's also this cool setup right here. So if you're off-road doing some terrain, you can turn this on and you get this cool setup right here. Shows you the attitude of the truck, both fore, aft, and side to side. And you got degrees and everything, and it gives you a different setup for the camera views, which I think is super cool. Another thing to talk about, drive modes. You get a whole slew of drive modes. Now, you get extra drive modes because you have the TRD Off-Road Package, but starting with drive modes itself, you've got Sport, Normal, and Eco drive modes. But if I go now to Tow Haul, you've got Tow Haul Plus or Tow Haul. Or I can go to this, Multi-Terrain Select. Now this only works if you're in four-wheel drive, so this is a great time to also show you this is how you shift between 2 high, 4 high, and 4 low. So I'll switch to 4 high. Now I'll go to Multi-Terrain Select, and I can choose between dirt, sand, and that's okay, mud, and deep snow. And finally, I have DAC/crawl right here, and I need to be in 4 low for that one. So to put the truck in 4 low, I first have to put it in neutral. Then I push down to 4 low. Now I'm in 4 low. And now you see I have crawl control, and I can now use the dial to adjust the speed of it. So I can turn it up from low, mid, to high. So I have 5 different settings for that. Now that is definitely part of the TRD Off-Road Package, but that's a super cool thing to have if you want to play around off-road. Now, if you press the button again, that puts it in DAC, which is kind of a hill descent control of sorts. Anyway, the point is that this truck gives you lots of systems and lots of options to go on lots of different terrain and do a lot of different fun things. But we're just going to stick to the roads right now. In fact, let's get back to the drive. Okay, let's dig into the powertrain of the Tundra. And I'm kind of laughing because it's an interesting powertrain the way it's broken up. You get 3 different power output options, but all of the power comes from the same core engine. And that engine is a twin turbocharged 3.5 liter V6. The different power outputs come from 2 different tunes of the engine, and there is a hybrid option as well. Toyota calls the non-hybrid version iForce. And in the SR trim Tundra with the iForce engine, you get 348 horsepower and 405 pound-feet of torque. However, if you get the iForce in any other trim that it's available, including this truck right here, you get 389 horsepower and 479 pound-feet of torque. That is a big, big jump, and that is all from just a few little specifics and different tuning. But if instead you go with the hybrid Toyota Tundra, you get a powertrain called iForce Max, and you get 437 horsepower and 583 pound-feet of torque. Yes, big numbers, and that really makes for a powerful truck, doesn't it? But this truck goes without that hybrid system, yet still has what I think very stout performance. Regardless of what power output you choose, you get the same 10-speed automatic transmission. That is a big jump from the last generation Toyota Tundra, which had a 6-speed transmission. So yeah, all Tundras get the 10-speed automatic, which gives you a wide ratio range to work with and plenty of gears to give you snappy off-the-line acceleration and yet really low cruising speed on the interstate. And on most trims, you can choose whether you want 2-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive, but on the TRD Pro and the Capstone models, they are 4-wheel drive only. For a big truck like this, it might seem a little weird to just be talking about one engine and it being a V6, but the fact that it is a pretty healthy amount of displacement, 3.5 liters, and that you have 2 turbochargers helping out, and that we live in the modern age where powertrain engineers have been able to do so much with so much less displacement, I am really not at all concerned about going V6 instead of a V8. The fact of the matter is that it starts and runs and operates very smoothly, so at no point do I feel wanting for a V8, except for maybe on startup. It definitely is a better exhaust note there, and you know, a throaty V8 cruising down the interstate's a little nicer as well. But hey, more than anything, I'm probably just showing my age than anything else that I really love that sound, but you know, what are you gonna do? And besides, there is a benefit to this V6. Obviously, I think you know where this is going. Fuel economy. The Tundra got a big jump in fuel economy numbers between the second and this 3rd generation truck. You now get 17 miles to the gallon in the city, 22 on the highway, 19 combined. And of course, those figures do go up a little bit if you get the 2-wheel drive version, and are a little bit different for the hybrid as well. Not actually a big difference in terms of improvement, but different all the same. In general, those aren't standout fuel economy numbers, but they are definitely competitive with the other full-size trucks sold here in the US, as long as you don't include the diesels. And while fuel economy is definitely important, especially these days, it is not nearly as much fun as acceleration. And of course, I had to play around with this brand new twin-turbo V6. Let me show you how this thing accelerates. All right, everybody, time for an acceleration test. I do have the truck in sport mode and the traction control off. Let's see how this Tundra does. Bit of brake torque. And off we go. Oh, yeah. Nothing like a good bit of wheel spin to get the blood pumping. Oh, man. Yeah, look at us go. Good quick shifts, and we are moving. That was really properly stout. So we got a good chunk of wheel spin at the beginning. Boom, quick shifts, bang, 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 and we are off and running. And I have to tell you, it's a V6. It's not a V8, but genuinely, that's a pretty darn decent sounding V6. You could do a lot worse than that, seriously. So, well done, Toyota. This Tundra can hustle. A bread and butter issue for a truck like this is going to be how well it goes down the road, and I can tell you that it actually rides quite nicely, and I'm actually a little pleasantly surprised by that. I thought that with the different suspension tune and the all-terrain tires that it would be a touch rougher than it is, but you know, we do have a lot of sidewall to work with to absorb all the potholes and those types of things, and you know, it is still a nice big modern truck. So yeah, the ride is totally pleasant, and that's true on roads like this or on the interstate. Let me show you that. All right, time for a stint on the interstate. I do have the traction control back on, of course, and I'm in normal driving mode. The Tundra does have Toyota Safety Sense 2.5, which includes a lot of the driving aid safety systems and all that kind of stuff, including adaptive cruise control. So I'll be seeing how that works. Also some lane centering and those types of things. So we'll give all that a try, plus get a sense of how loud this thing is on the interstate. Okay, cruise control is set at an indicated 78 miles an hour, and I do have lane centering active as well, and I just went around a corner there and the thing did turn itself, so that was fun. So if I let go of the steering wheel, you know, it's a little bit to the left of center, but it is pretty darn good at keeping it centered. You can see the steering wheel wiggling around a bit. It's been several seconds now. Just got the hold the steering wheel warning there. But yeah, Toyota's lane centering works really quite well. It is something they call lane tracing assist, and it's definitely one of the better systems out there, where you're in the center of the lane and it's not jerky. It's a smooth little nudge here and there. And we've got another subtle curve in the interstate coming up, so I'll take my hands back off the wheel. Yeah, and you can feel it tugging on it already a little bit. Had to make a couple of adjustments there. It kind of turned a little too much at the beginning. But yeah, the adaptive cruise control works perfectly well. We don't have that much traffic right now anyway. And this lane tracing assist, this lane centering, does work quite well. And it's funny to be saying all of this in a full-size pickup truck, but hey, it's a $60,000 full-size pickup truck. So yeah, all in all, road noise is pretty good, and it's actually quite good considering that we have all-terrain tires. Those usually aren't quite as good as, you know, more traditional all seasons at road noise, but road noise is pretty decent. Wind noise is a tiny touch on the high side, but again, for a full-size pickup truck, I think it's totally competitive, and it's certainly not loud. It's plenty easy to have a conversation in here. And the ride itself, it's a little bit on the stiff side. Like if you go over heaves in the road, you can feel those, but it's really not bad. It's not at all punishing. And, you know, for the added off-road capability, I'll take it. Combine that with the 14-inch center console touchscreen and all the options to choose from there, as well as the mountains of space you have inside this cabin. Yeah, this is a very comfortable place to be, and I could definitely swallow up a lot of miles on the interstate. With a truck like this, something that a lot of people will be doing, of course, is towing. That is a very important part of full-size pickup trucks. And this is the first generation Toyota Tundra that has a fully boxed frame. So it is no longer partially boxed like the second generation Tundra. It definitely feels a bit stronger and stouter underneath you, which is good, and gives you a little bit more confidence to do some serious towing. Now, the Tundra can tow as much as 12,000 pounds. That's if you get an SR5 trimmed Tundra that is two-wheel drive. But because this is the Crew Max with all-wheel drive and a limited, that number drops to 11,120 pounds. And because of that little yellow sticker I showed you earlier, it actually drops a little further. So this particular Tundra, with all the options, the big one being the TRD Off-Road Package, can actually tow 10,941 pounds. Now, that's a lot, right? I mean, that's still a lot. For anyone that is not like in the business doing work with a truck where you have to haul real serious loads, you know, that gets you into the vast majority of recreational equipment out there. Big camping trailers, pretty darn healthy sized boats, you know, those types of things. And I talked about payload capacity as well. That's healthy. It's a little bit on the low side if you get this exact trim and options package. But again, if you're getting those things, that might mean that payload is a little bit less important and sport a little bit more, so it all makes sense. Now, when I got the chance to drive the Tundra last fall, that included a chance to tow with it a bit, and I actually did a separate video that went through all the different trims of Toyota, what they can haul, what they can tow, and what it's like to tow with the Tundra. So if you want to check that video out, I have it linked up there as well, and I'll also put it in the description. Putting it all together, what do we have with this third generation Tundra? We have a very legitimate player here. You know, the very first Tundra that came out back in, I believe it was 1999, was not quite full size, definitely smaller than the F-150s and Silverados of the day, and, you know, towing capacities and payloads and all that kind of stuff were smaller as well. It was a good truck, but it was a little bit limited in its capabilities. So then the second generation Tundra came around, and you could see that Toyota was upping their game. But it was also clear that Ford and Chevrolet were still ahead when it came to serious truck payload capacities, towing capacities, and work like that. This one definitely closes those margins up right now. Having the fully boxed frame, having the size that we do, having the power that we do, it's definitely a much more serious player than the Tundra has ever been. Toyota put in a lot of good options in terms of price variation, cabin size, bed size, off-roading capability, different ways to make this truck work, different ways to make it more comfortable and convenient. Me personally, I am still very, very impressed with what Ford does with the F-150. In fact, I did a video on the F-150 Platinum not that long ago, and the variety of packages and conveniences that that truck gave you was immense. But Toyota has definitely closed the gap and has a few advantages on its own. I'm Robin Warner, thank you for watching. And if you are still watching, I would really appreciate it if you like this video and subscribe to my channel. Those things really do help me out a lot. Okay, goodbye. I mean, it is twin turbo. Not bad.